Hello, hello, greetings, my family, my Facebook family of friends and family. Mari Smith here, coming to you from hot, sunny San Diego afternoon. And I would like to help you understand Mark Zuckerberg's 2,300 or so word opening remarks that he just made a few hours ago on the Meta Platforms Inc. Q2 earnings call, talking about what is happening with the family of apps, Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp, and of course, all the AR, VR, metaverse stuff. So it can be definitely very confusing, when you see the just so many changes, right? So many changes happening, and some just announced last week. If we hop over here, you can see some of them on my page, right? So I was talking about the two types of Facebook feed accessible via two different tabs, right? You should have that. If you do not have the new this one that's in my video here, favorites, friends, groups, pages, it's called feeds, then it's definitely coming. What's this, Wednesday right now as I broadcast this? It should be coming by Friday, because they said the end of this week. So that was one change. And then you can read this if you haven't, talking about some of the the AI discovery engine, the professional mode and personal profiles, new pages experience. These are previous updates. Okay, so just a few other things there you can see on my page. And then today is, Zuckerberg talking about the changes that are happening, and just, he always gives these opening remarks on the earnings calls. So if I go and expand this, you'll see, I shared in my social scoop group, and my members, shout out to my social scoopers. It's like, oh my God, no way I'm reading that, because, when Mark reads this aloud, it takes him, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes. But to just be able to read it and decipher it and understand what the heck is Zuckerberg going on about, that's a lot to take in. So I'll show you what I've done for you, and then I'll break it down for you in a second. I have put his remarks into this Word doc, which I usually do every quarter, and I break it down and I put it into bullet points, and I underscore and I highlight. All the markup is mine. I put it kind of into sections, and so that's what I'm going to go through for you in just a minute here. Okay, so I would say, if you're in a hurry, the bottom line is everybody has to be posting reels on Instagram and Facebook, and we're all just at the mercy of these algorithms with this discovery engine and Facebook's AI recommending content for us. That's just the way it is. So of course you can make use of these new feeds. That's nice. I personally am not doing a whole lot of reels, and I've been talking to a lot of folks in my community who, reels isn't necessarily their jam. And I don't know about you, but I mean, I personally don't do TikTok. And if I wanted to do TikTok, I would go to TikTok. I wouldn't be trying to just, consume all of these videos, short form videos on Instagram and Facebook. But there you go. That's the way it is. So we'll dive into that in just a second. But yeah, I mean, that's the bottom line of it, is they're just pushing so hard with reels, and that's Zuckerberg's answer to competing with TikTok. Let me just jump ahead for a second here to this article on the today.com. Today's show. This was actually published yesterday, and I was quoted in here. So I did a little quote for them. See here, I said that changes are, I'm saying likely. They said likely. I'm sure I didn't say likely. I know they are. It's absolutely certain that these short form videos are to compete with TikTok because they're a fierce competitor. And so just this whole idea of like wooing the younger generation is just becoming what I'm calling Instatalk, right? Instatalk and Face Talk. So, yeah. And then I talked a little bit further down about this, you might have heard that term before called feature bloat. If there's, when an app gets just too many features, it can be frustrating. It's confusing. It confuses users, and they're like, oh my gosh, so many features. So let me pop this in here. And just pop that right there. Okay, so that's an article there that you can check out if you want. So that's interesting. Some more comments, and then they disappeared. Ecamm's been a bit wonky. So let's do this. I'm going to go through, first of all, some of the stats, some of the numbers that's happening, and then you will see I will break down those remarks for you, ignoring all the guff, all the fluff and the guff, and we'll just get down to what in the heck is important to us marketers, right? So by the numbers, you can always get this at FB. Hang on, what is the... Yeah, I have it right here in my little circle of, investor.fb.com is where you can always follow along the investor events, past events, upcoming events. They always have the webcast live, and they've got the earnings and the slides and so on. So that's investor.fb.com if you're interested in that. But here is the slides. We're just going to jump down. I don't get all into the revenue so much. If you're watching the finances, great. I do own some Meta stock, not a lot, just a little bit. Used to own a lot, made some good money years ago, not so much lately. But I'm mainly going to use these slides to just highlight the users, okay? So this is coming on down here to page 10. So I wish I had a little pen to mark up like Zoom does. This is Ecamm. I'm using Ecamm. And so DAP, they call them DAPs. They're usually called MAPs, monthly active, MAUs, MAUs or MAUs, or DAOs, right? DAUs. But Facebook calls them people instead of calling them users. They changed it not long back. So family, when they say family, that is all 4 apps: Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp. And you can see from last quarter, okay, we've gone up 2.7, 2.87 to 8.8, and then the monthly active people on the family. That's because Instagram and WhatsApp might be still growing in other countries outside the US. Growth there. Let's get past the earnings. And then we've got the DAOs, the DAUs, the dailies, just Facebook. They only ever single out Facebook. They never tell us anymore for years now what Instagram's doing or WhatsApp or Messenger. They do the family and then they break out Facebook. So we've got some growth still in dailies, 1.960 billion to 1.968 billion quarter to quarter. But there, we have a drop in monthlies. Right? 2.936 down to 2.934 billion. So that's important to know. And then on the financial side, there is a drop. It's the first revenue decline, actually, in their first ever. And this Verge article talking about Facebook's decade-long streak of nonstop revenue growth has come to an end. And that was inevitable, right? You can't just keep going up and up and up. As New York Times is talking about, the companies confronting increased regulatory scrutiny and a turbulent economy. So now everybody's at effect of what's happening economically. Whoopsies. Got a comment there from a long time ago, I think. Weird. I think I've hit a few keystrokes inadvertently. But yeah, so right, Abby, exactly. She's talking about that. That was a big drop that happened previously. There's not so much a giant drop this time in valuation, company valuation, right? So that's a big thing for sure to take note of. We've got a loss of monthly active users just on Facebook overall, the whole family, daily and monthly. That's basically people who log on. They count them every day, but then they also count the people who don't log on every day, who's maybe like a few times a week. Those are called like the monthly. They get put into the monthly active users. So those are both up, except for they've singled out Facebook and showing, they always do, and just showing that that's down. They lost, it was only, I'm forgetting the number, but it was like 150 million. Doesn't seem like a lot when they got 3 billion, but that was last year. They talk about that. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to jump over and start breaking down some of these remarks. Yeah, that's true, Abby. Yeah, and invariably we see a big clean out. If ever you see you've suddenly lost Instagram followers or Twitter followers, Facebook followers, invariably that is exactly what's happened, is what Abby's talking about here, where they've done a big clean out of fakes and bots and duplicates and whatever. And Patrice, what's interesting, and anybody else here is applicable to, that WhatsApp is only going to keep growing and growing for reaching your potential audience, as well as for business. If you sell, Patrice, I'm not sure if you're in the same role. I think you were in a nonprofit last time we chatted, but it could be. I think WhatsApp is still largely untapped for the business, for-profit, and nonprofit world. So, hey, Chrissy, yeah, the bottom line, right? Post more reels, excuse me, insert eye roll emojis. All right, let me get to my Word doc. Okay, so I take a few notes and then I just break down his own. This I highlighted that because in the Q&A section, Zuckerberg literally said those words, "Following is an important signal," and I was like, "Yeah, no, no kidding, Zuckerberg. You think someone says, yeah, I want to follow that person, that page, that business? I would think that'd be an important signal." He was trying to like placate, the whole like, hey, we don't want nothing but AI recommended content in our feed. And so he was like, yeah, following is an important signal. Yeah, for sure. All right. So what he's talking about, yep, tough macro environment, but he's talking about positive trajectory in our community engagement trends, and you can imagine that even if there's bad news to deliver, he's going to kind of pad it out a bit with as much good news as he can possibly manage. So the positive trajectory in community engagement is coming from Reels and what he says are investments in AI, meaning this quote discovery engine, which is on both Instagram and Facebook, which you'll see in a minute further below. He gives us some numbers as to how much content in your Instagram and your Facebook feed is just predicted, shown to you from people you don't even follow. And this is pretty impressive to have a 30% increase in the time people spent engaging with Reels across both Facebook and Instagram. Not entirely sure if he's saying that's a 30% increase since last quarter. If so, that's pretty huge. So, yep, the family of apps is growing, even though we saw, as I just showed you those numbers, slight drop in monthly actives on Facebook alone. And my guess would be no drop in any of the other three apps. So, 3.6 billion monthly across all services is still astounding. So any of you like me who invariably get frustrated and fatigued, I call it literally hashtag Facebook fatigue and hashtag Facebook frustration. If you are just so like, driving us crazy here, Meta family, and that's it, kick the tires, I'm out of here. I'm going to go use something else. The thing is, with 3.6 billion, it's still the behemoth. It's still the big daddy. It's still the biggest social network on the planet. Certainly when we combine them all together. And I know TikTok, who can tell me? I don't always follow it, but TikTok has how many? Is it over 1 billion or is it over 2 billion? It's certainly over. Oh, you know what? I think I saw it. I'm answering my own question. I know it's over 1 billion, and I think they're predicted to be 2 billion by the end of this year. Yeah, so that is pretty fierce competition, isn't it? But still, I don't know that they'll ever surpass, the Meta combined family of apps. But so that's why there's like strength in numbers, right? There's a good reason why Facebook acquired Meta. Oh God, I totally said that wrong. Facebook, formerly known as Meta, formerly known as Facebook, acquired Instagram. My God, it's hard to keep the brain straight, isn't it? It's confusing. You know what I mean? The company acquired Instagram. So, and he's talking about Facebook, that people using Facebook daily continues to grow, including in the US. So actually, I need to highlight that. That's actually heartening to see, even though he says, although we saw an expected decline. Now, yeah, fair enough. Okay, there's blocks related to the war there, which is, they said it was expected. But then the engagement, as I mentioned above, strong Reels growth is continuing to drive engagement. So that's great. Now, again, economic downturn, it's going to have an impact. This is not just the Meta, it's across everything, Apple ads, Google. He's saying, he seems to think the situation's worse than it did a quarter ago. Who knows? I always take what Zuckerberg says with a pinch of salt. So what they're doing is doubling down on their investments, not doubling down, but they're continuing to focus on these investments on this discovery engine, right? Which is basically the AI driven recommended content. I'm just adding that in there in my own words, so we understand what the heck he's talking about. On both Facebook and Instagram, that's what they're calling the discovery engine. Now, those of you who do use TikTok, I understand that one of the features, one of the aspects that's made TikTok crazy successful is it basically, the app, the AI, the algorithms knows you better than your mother, your best friend, and your significant other put together. I'm saying that tongue in cheek, but what I mean by that is they can predict what kinds of content that it thinks you'll like to see in your feed. Now, it's fascinating because since Facebook rolled out that new feeds, I'll pop over there. A couple of times I've popped over there to look at my favorites. My favorites are my favorites, right enough, but just friends only. Now, this is, of course, governed by how many friends you have, and I'm long had like close to the 5,000 limit. I keep a little buffer to add people that I know or new people I meet. But it's like, wow, when you just look at a straight chronological feed of content that friends post, and sometimes friends means long ago, you friended them a decade ago and you've long forgotten. But if you see this pure chrono feed, I've seen people I've never seen in a long time, and they're the kind of people that post like multiple times an hour, and they're just jamming up my feed, and I'm like, oh, unfollow, oh, unfriend, sorry, I really don't want to see 50 pieces of your content in my feed. So I'm like carefully broaching that topic because I'm like, dang, well, maybe these discovery engines, maybe the whole concept of this AI recommended content isn't so bad, because then at least I get little bits and pieces cherry picked and put together, as opposed to, some people are just dominating my feed. Anyway, so Reels, it's talking about new ads infrastructure and, of course, the metaverse, which is so far away, it's ridiculous. It's like minimum 5, if not 10 years away. But the writing's on the wall, has been for years. There's a reason that Zuckerberg and crew are pivoting heavily, or at least trying to squeeze as much revenue as they can out of the existing apps and platforms and services to fund the growth of the vision for the metaverse. Who knows if that will really come to pass? We'll see. We'll see. Now they are slowing down. They're slowing down, investing in what he's calling these multi-year projects, which is the AR, the VR, the metaverse, so on and so forth. And they're also scaling back on staff. Talk about reducing headcount growth there. So let me switch back over to my Chrome here, because there's a couple of articles here. CNBC economic downturn is here. Meta must do more with less. He's telling his employees. And then talking here was an article published yesterday. I love this graphic. The Verge often does some great animations, a little animation of melting. As Meta's growth slows, Mark Zuckerberg is pushing even harder. Will his employees melt under the pressure? So I'm giving you lots of little bits and pieces here. We start to build this picture of what exactly is really happening at this behemoth, this country. Their future is certainly pretty stable for now. A multi-billion, almost trillion-dollar company. But sometimes it's literally the company we most love to hate. And yeah, I've seen a lot of talk, including in my Social Scoop group, and having these own thoughts and feelings myself, that there's this unprecedented opportunity at the moment for a competitor, not TikTok, but some new company, some new concept even that we might not have even ever heard of. I know there's those out there that are catering more to the Gen Z market, for example, and just different types of apps where they share with one another. But let's carry on breaking this down, because there's some interesting stuff in here. We're covering Mark Zuckerberg's 2,300-word opening remarks of the Q2 earnings call that just happened a couple hours ago. So yeah, the company is shrinking some of the teams are reducing headcount. I did see something go by a few months ago where he was like, they got some kind of performance-based initiatives where they're like, look, if you don't perform, you're out, kind of thing, self-selected. I don't know. It sounds pretty brutal to me. I wouldn't want to be inside the company. So come on down here. They're talking about high priorities, discussing high priority areas. And I mentioned my little notes here in quarter one, the previous earnings call. Zuckerberg talked about the 3 main investment priorities, which is Reels. And I've included in Reels, like there's a part of that is the AI-driven discovery engine, because a lot of what they're recommending to us is Reels. But Zuckerberg was very clear on the call today, and he put it in his remarks as well as an answer to one of the investors' questions, is that the AI discovery engine is not just to surface Reels. It doesn't just recommend Reels. It recommends all types of content, text, other videos, photos, the ads in the metaverse. And so now he's got this thing he's calling a flywheel. So we'll talk about that in a second here. 2 major technological waves that we're riding in our business. AI, the metaverse. Yep, long way away, Zuckerberg. I don't know that people are not going to want to sit around wearing giant goggles and getting headaches and vertigo and nausea and God knows what. I'm not very bullish on the metaverse, not for years and years. It won't be mainstream. It's mostly gamers right now. I know it's wonderful use cases for education, for training, for public speaking. Yeah, this sense of presence, which Zuckerberg loves to talk about. So one of the main transformations in our business right now is that social feeds are going from being driven primarily by the people and accounts you follow to increasingly also being driven by AI recommended content that you'll find interesting from across Facebook or Instagram, even if you don't follow those creators. Well, the main transformation is happening because Meta is driving it to copy TikTok. Like, could you imagine? Just think for a minute. I sounded awful Scottish there because I am Scottish, but sometimes my accent comes out more than other times. Could you imagine if like TikTok had a whole other different approach? It wasn't like this discovery engine. They didn't have this magical For You page. It was something completely and utterly different. It was, I don't know, to connect you with like-minded friends who are up to something big on the planet. It was like really creating social change. Then Meta would be like, whoa, people are really liking that. Let's copy that. Lori, it's not about me being a fan of TikTok. I think it's a great app for people who love it and who like to use it and who find their audience there and like to connect on it. For me personally, I deleted my account and I deleted the app from my phone about 3 years ago, you know? Yeah, maybe when I get riled up, right, Abby? If I get myself riled up, then that'd be rolling my R's. Anyway, thanks for hanging out here today with me, friends. Let me get through a little bit more of this because there is some good stuff in here. So it just cracks me up the way that Zuckerberg words this stuff, talking about main transformations. We're getting away from social feeds. Never mind about the people that you like to follow and the pages and the businesses. We're going to tell you what you want to see. And of course, Reels, growth of content. There is what was mentioned about saying that the AI discovery engine actually covers all types of content: text, images, links, group content, and more. And he even mentioned when he was doing the Q&A, he mentioned comments, right? So if you see somebody, I've seen that a lot. I don't know about you, but you'll see something in your feed, especially on Facebook in particular. So-and-so commented on this. Even if it's a post you've already commented, you're kind of finished with it, you read it, but then it comes back around again because someone commented on it, friend of yours usually. Now, here you go. Watch this. Right now, about 15%, only 15% in a person's Facebook feed of content, and a little more than that, he didn't say what, but let's just call it 20% of their Instagram feed is recommended by our AI from people, groups, or accounts that you don't follow. But look at this, friends. We expect those numbers to more than double by the end of next year. Well, that's a ways away. That is a ways away. However, if right now you're noticing in both Facebook and or Instagram that you keep seeing a lot of content from people you don't know, maybe you're not interested in it, the AI prediction has gotten it really wrong, but you imagine turning the dial up by double. Whoa, that's going to be, I think it's going to drive people even more crazy. They're going to be, what in the heck is going on here? I'm out. I'm going to go hang out in a totally other different app. Let's go check LinkedIn again, or maybe Twitter, or I don't know. You might do what I'm doing. I'm setting up a whole new platform. I have a community I've built on Mighty Networks. You guys are so welcome to come and check it out. And pop that in there for you. It's wonderful. I don't talk about it a whole lot yet because I'm still just seeing what wants to emerge. Come join for free. MariSmithSuperstars.com. I'll put the wee link in there and you can catch it later. But it's built on Mighty Networks and I just love it. It's a beautiful platform. It's really easy to use and it's great for connecting away from, it's like an oasis. I call it like an oasis away from all the noise and the chaos of the algorithms and the feed and just the stuff that comes at us. Okay. As our AI finds additional content that people find interesting, that increases engagement and the quality of our feeds. And then remember, he's talking to investors. He's painting a picture here. Mark Zuckerberg, this is his words, posted a few hours ago on his profile, right? That he's painting this picture that, hey, very positive, forward-looking, he's trying to be real, like this is really what's happening, but then here's the vision going forward. So he's saying we're already efficient at monetizing most of the formats and it should increase our business opportunity. Most of the formats being these other types of content. Reels are not monetizing as quickly, although there's still quite a bit of ads coming to Reels and a lot more to go. He said last quarter that Reels are making up 20% of time spent, and then that's jumped up by 10%. So it's a more than 30% increase in the time people spent engaging with Reels. Or I could be wrong about that. If he means 30% on top of the 20%. Anyway, there's more people are spending time. Why? Yeah, because what the algorithms do is it finds the most addictive. I get things like celebrities, babies, dancers, weddings, cats, right? The more you interact with a certain topic, then the more you get those topics. Anyway, and they're seeing an increase of 15% watch time in Reels video on Facebook alone. So that's great. And again, we come back to this part. Well, of course, you're going to see an increase because you're pushing them so hard. You're shoving them in our face. And then even now, if you notice on both stories, does it do on Reels as well? I'm almost certain it does it on Reels too, but where it jiggles a little bit, right? Because yeah, it does. I can see that. It does that on YouTube. It does that on YouTube. Let's see if there's some stuff I just have to hide. No, I don't want to see that. It does. It absolutely does. Let me just do this. I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to bring up my phone. My phone's showing a little bit differently this time, but that's okay. Like, do you see how it just gives me a tiny little clip like that, right? The Reels. And even if I swipe over, it starts to move, right? It gives me just the first split second. So I mean, all these celebrity, I've seen that one in that middle. I've seen that like so many freaking times. It's like, stop showing me that. But you know what's happening, of course, a lot of people share the same things. They're supposed to be favoring original content, not constantly shared same stuff. And then the stories do the same. I think if I just go up the top here, yeah, actually it's funny because I can see my own Facebook Live right there in my own story. You see how it gives you, there's my own story right there. It's given us the tiny little movement because the movement catches the eye. That's why if we go way back in the day when we used to have those banners, or they still have them, right? But banners on the top and down the side of, moving and flashing. And then that movement catches your eye. You're like, what's that? It draws you in. And so whatever. Anyway, carry on here. Let me see a little bit more to go. Thanks for hanging out with me this evening or whenever you're watching this. So Zuckerberg, I thought this was really interesting because he wanted to point this out. As we're building our discovery engine, though, I want to be clear that we're still ultimately a social company focused on helping people connect. Yeah. We don't really believe you, Zuckerberg. Do I sound a little bit jaded? It's not that I'm jaded. I just was, friends. It's like, can you please put some really solid investment into giving people amazing customer service and handling issues properly and getting rid of the spam and the junk and the dissension and the fake news and just tighten things up so it's almost impossible to hack accounts and so on and so forth. Then we might be more interested and supporting your vision, Zuckerberg. But I thought, so here's this flywheel. I thought this was kind of interesting. And again, see, there's always, I can feel it. There's always an ulterior motive This is another thing that's made TikTok so successful. And again, I don't use TikTok, but I certainly know enough about it being in the social media industry. When you're shown through the discovery engine of TikTok a video that you enjoy and you hit share, you can share it through a private message with a friend. That friend goes, wow, that's cool. They share it with a friend. And then everybody gets inspired to make more content. Ooh, it's a trend. Let's jump on it. Let's make a video. I'll make my version of that. And that's what they're talking about as a flywheel. So this is exactly what TikTok is doing. So this is what Zuckerberg's talking about here. One social trend that we're seeing on TikTok is that instead of people just interacting in comments and feeds, most people find interesting content in their feeds and then message that content to friends and interact there. Creates a flywheel of discovery. And on Instagram, Reels makes up more than half. That's astounding to me. Half of content reshared in messages. Amazing, huh? So our strategy isn't about public versus social content and interaction. It's about enabling a flywheel that compounds both public and social and interaction. Anyway, oh, goodness gracious. So that's that. That's the dealio. Yay! Hello, my friends. Oh, I love you guys. It's Tristan and Sabrina. Satori Method. We'll see you in your Mighty Network. Go, come on in. I know I launched it a few months ago and I'm just like waiting to see what wants to come through. I'll be talking about how to grow your influence, how to do brand ambassador work, how to grow your platforms, and bringing in my passion for the human design system, which I've been studying passionately for a year and a half now. I'm going to put that up too. Tristan, you're the best. We just love how it feels like we're hanging out, chatting with you in the living room over a wee cup of tea. Oh yeah, we'll get the kettle on, a wee brew. You're one of the most authentic and natural live streaming ninjas out there. Thank you for all these amazing updates and insights. Tristan, you're the best. I appreciate that. Much love back to you, my friend. Yes. So let's switch gears and talk about what's the dealio on ads. Hands up who here does paid. Do you do paid? Do you do ads? Let me know in the comments. Oh, I see what I did with my comments. Sometimes I hit the wrong keystrokes and it goes all wonky donk. Now I suddenly see all of your comments. Isn't it interesting that sometimes I can't see the users? It happens that way in groups, but every now and again it does that on pages too. Really weird. Right, yeah, small amount. I know every now and again I get a little email from Facebook that I've got a couple $100 in my PayPal from Facebook. I'm like, yay, look at that. I made some money. I don't do a lot of reels, but it's nice to get paid when you do, right? So, of course, growth of short form video is a big one for reels. And again, see, it's that what I mentioned to you earlier about the ulterior motive. Yeah, the ulterior motive number one, copy the heck out of TikTok in an attempt to compete with them, in an attempt to attract the younger demographics, younger being, 20-somethings and younger. And ulterior motive number two, create as much more ad inventory as possible. As long as there's demand for ads, it's a good thing. They'll create their revenue. They'll keep them going. They need to find more spaces. That was a big part of Stories. Stories created a ton more ad inventory. And now, of course, Reels are doing the same. But they're saying here that Reels just doesn't yet monetize at the same rate. I think probably a big fact to that is that we're so used to just swiping, right? You're watching a Reel. As soon as an ad comes, no, I'm not interested in that ad. I want to just feed my brain more entertainment, So what's interesting, though, another highlight here, that Meta has crossed the $1 billion annual revenue run rate for Reels ads. So that's pretty good to see. And there's some growth there. And they're saying it has a higher revenue run rate than Stories did at identical times post-launch. So, of course, he always talks about the Apple iOS changes. And so if you've decided to opt out of being tracked by companies, not just Facebook, right? There's a lot of companies that are affected by this if you choose not to have your activity tracked outside of a certain app. Whatever app you're using, be it Facebook or Twitter or Words with Friends. It's the one game I play. So as he says, that their approach is to grow first party understanding of people's interests, not third party, first party, so that when you do place ads, Facebook will make it easier and better for you for them to predict the right people that you'll want to see, or not just to predict, but to accurately, show your ads in front of the right people. Make it easier for people to engage with businesses in their own apps, whether that's through business messaging, shops, or new ad products. So this is good. This is good news. Now, Sheryl Sandberg talked quite a bit about click-to-messaging on today's earnings call, saying it's a part of our business messaging strategy. It's growing quickly. 40% of advertisers already use this format. So I'd love to know, if those of you who are doing paid ads, have you tried these click-to-messenger ads? Yeah. Oh, interesting. So Lori's saying, hang on, I asked that question earlier. Let me come back to you. No longer. Oh, interesting, Lori. Now I would be so curious to know what your reasoning is. Have you taken the ad budget and put it elsewhere? Are you doing TikTok or LinkedIn or Google? Or are you just deciding to focus mostly on organic? I'm always curious to know that. Patrice does do ads. Good reason. I think that's what you're saying, right? Ads, not at first, but now is better. Okay, good. Yeah. Allison saying she stopped running ads too. I do ads periodically. I'm not one of those marketers who just constantly has an ad campaign going. I mean, I suppose I could or should, lead magnet ads and whatever, but I typically run a little bit of ads when I have a course or an offering or something. But I think this click-to-messenger ads actually really, really cool. Very, very good feature to get people to direct message you either in Messenger or Instagram or WhatsApp. Here's Sarah saying too, I had to pause mine. They just weren't effective. Higher costs without great results. Ugh, yeah. Oh, interesting. Hey, Adriana, good to see you, love. She's saying authors are still heavily using them. Amazon ads are even worse. Yeah. See, it's another thing. Even though I kind of joke tongue in cheek about Facebook being the company we all most love to hate, it's that the inordinate amount of data that they have on 3.6 billion users, that's across all the family of apps, that their ad targeting is still really effective. And anybody here, if you've had challenges with your Facebook ads, it's not performing, you're not getting the conversions, I really, really encourage you to get help, to get training, because it really still can work. And I know some folks are really enjoying TikTok ads, but I think TikTok ads, maybe the conversions aren't as good. And so they're talking about the AI being able to power these automated messaging, creation tools, run better performing campaigns, particularly important for small businesses that don't have big marketing departments and that have been hit hard by Apple's policy changes. So, just a thought to maybe experiment, dabble with doing some click to messaging ads. And that just means so people see the ad. Vast majority of us use Facebook predominantly and mobile devices, about 80%-ish. And so it's so easy when you see an ad and that you'll recognize the little button and just tap and boom, you're in Messenger. Or if you're doing a WhatsApp or an Instagram DM ad, and people just tap that and they can message you. Now, especially if you have already set up some form of automated messaging, whether it's through a chat bot or the tools that Meta offers, and then you're in conversation with your prospect. Speed, my friends, speed is money in the bank. The faster you can get to someone who's sitting there potentially looking to buy from you, and you're able to answer their questions, give them what they need, help them, maybe answer a few objections. Before you know it, their credit card's out and they're buying from you. Yeah, hi, Yvonne. She's saying that Facebook ads are incredibly effective for low dollar spend. Good for you. Yeah, and Adriana, I know the Facebook reps aren't helpful. Every now and again, you can get a really good one. Over the years, I've met a few, and invariably they leave Facebook and they go start their own business. They're really good ones. Anyway, crazy times. But now is the time more than ever to use social media in however works for you. Don't get caught up and hooked into thinking that you have to be doing a million reels and lip syncing and dancing and pointing and whatever everybody else appears to be doing. I guarantee it's not everybody else. You do what's authentic to you and what's on brand to you and what you have the time for and the resources for. And it's so important to have an overarching strategy as opposed to just constantly getting caught up in the tactics. Oh my God, Zuckerberg says reels, we better just do reels, reels, reels. And then let's say a month goes by and you've posted, a few reels a week. And then you're looking at your stats. Okay, you've got some numbers are going up. You're seeing some people playing your reels. But then you're like, did I actually generate any more leads this month? Did I actually get any more business? Made any more sales? Okay, let's try another month. But my point is we just have to be careful as marketers, business owners, advertisers to have that overarching strategy. And usually the vast majority of people I speak to, my clients, my students, my audience, my community, is that what we all want to do is to build our businesses sustainably. We don't all want to get caught up in this not flywheel, as Zuckerberg's flywheel. It's more like a hamster wheel. It's a hamster wheel of constantly cranking out content that invariably is not getting that good reach and is not getting much engagement. So then what, right? Just to be able to check a box and say, okay, we did our social content for today. I'd rather see you leaning into building community, whether that's on a Facebook group or a whole third-party platform, non-Zuckerberg owned platform like Mighty Networks, and that's what I've chosen to do for now. And it's both and. I'm not leaving Facebook. I won't leave them for a long time to come. Maybe ever, but we'll see. I don't know where this whole thing's going. Let me pull up a link for you, and I think we're almost done. I think we're done actually by that. So let's see. Create your own community/network on Mighty Networks. And I'll pop a link in there. That is my tracking link, just FYI, full disclosure. And wonderful platform. If you have any kind of course content, a lot of folks here maybe use Kajabi or Teachable or Thinkific or all the ones. I've used Thinkific for years. And what I have found that the vast majority of these platforms are missing is a really, really solid community component. And I just have not found any better than Mighty Networks to do the community aspect as well. It's like having your own Facebook without all the noise. So that's what my Superstars is built on. All right, I think I'm just at the very end of Zuckerberg's remarks here. Oh, here he is talking about the metaverse now. Marketers are reevaluating their budgets in these difficult financial times, economic times, and focus on finding the highest performing advertising. And then his final topic was the metaverse. And he's saying metaverse technological wave that's currently building. Of course, they're driving it. Massive opportunity for a number of reasons. Now look at this. I don't know about you all. As I mentioned it earlier, if you didn't join until just recently, I was talking about how I don't know about you, but I just cannot see ever a time for me personally, maybe for you, to play games through the VR headsets unless they make them so unobtrusive that they're not this big heavy thing that's giving you headaches and wooziness and vertigo and dizziness and nausea and whatever. That you're going to sit there and play games. I don't know. I'm sure it's kind of neat. It's a neat experience. But working for hours at a time with one of these giant things on your face. I don't know about that. I don't know. It's not. I don't know. No, not for me. Maybe jump in for a minute at a time to say hi to a friend. Maybe so. Now look what he's saying here. Given some of the product and business constraints we face now, I feel even more strongly now that developing these platforms, the metaverse, right, the AR, the VR, will unlock hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions. Who agrees with Zuckerberg? Do you really think there's trillions to unlock? Maybe there is. 10 years time, sure. And then for those of you who are interested, he's talking about expanding Horizon as their social metaverse platform. Avatars, you might have noticed they have an avatar store with digital clothes from leading fashion houses. This Project Cambria thing. That's funny. Project Cambria. What a funny name. What about Project Cambridge Analytica? I shouldn't joke. That was a pretty serious issue. So that's that. And then he acknowledged Sheryl for what was now her last earnings call. If you haven't heard the news, Sheryl Sandberg leaving. She's leaving Facebook after 14 years with the company. And he's got some other changes. The CFO is going to be the Chief Strategy Officer, Dave Wenner. He's been in that role, CFO, since 2014. 7 years for him, 8 years. And then Susan Lee is going to be the new CFO. So, that's all the updates there. And as I say, the TLDR, too long didn't read version is Meta wants us to post more reels on both Facebook and Instagram. If you're going to do ads, try click to messaging ads to Messenger and or Instagram Direct and or WhatsApp. And if you don't like the constant shoving of content in your feed from people and pages you don't even know, random, basically, you've got to like it or lump it. That's Mari's summary. Oh, yeah. But did you see on the this news about Instagram? And then there's a petition, right? There's this petition that's flying around. Make Instagram again. Stop trying to be TikTok. I just want to see cute photos of my friends. Sincerely, everyone. Now that got shared. Look at that, 2.1 million likes. It got shared by Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, who are people I do not follow at all. But let me just check this petition. Yesterday was at just under 200. Okay, they made it. They were at about 175,000. They're now at 208,000. They were striving to get to 200,000. Now they're looking to get 300,000. So they're over 200,000. That's a lot of signatures on a petition. I don't know. It's not for me. I'm not signing it. Who knows if it'll make any difference. But I think it's good to rattle the cage of these leaders and to get their attention. So here's Adam Mosseri, head of Instagram, went live. He did a reel on Instagram is where he usually goes, and then he'd post the same thing to Twitter. And he's just basically saying, actually, hang on, because I think I kind of summarized it in my Social Scoop group as I posted this here. Head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, addressed some of the concerns on this reel. I'll pop that in your comments there so that it's in there. He seems to be basically saying, hey, we know there's a ton of changes happening on Instagram, and we're going to keep iterating, and that's that. Sticks tongue out. Bottom line, Meta Zuckerberg just keep blazing ahead, believing the way to compete and woo the younger demographic is to keep blatantly copying, mostly from TikTok for now, right? Because that's their biggest competitor. Previously, it was Snapchat, right? And then Instagram is basically becoming InstaTalk, Facebook Face Talk. And it was been almost 2 years now that Mosseri said that TikTok was their most formidable competitor that the company had ever seen. Oh, one other little item I had open for you there was something just announced today. The FTC is filing to block Meta from buying a VR company. So that kind of stuff is just going to be happening a lot. So questions, comments, concerns, anything not making any sense right now? Hi, Kristen. She's saying, I don't mind Reels my Instagram, but can we keep them in its own Reels feed? That's a great idea, Kristen. That's a really great idea. I know, right? Because then people that wanted to see them would go and tap through. And they do. On Instagram, right? Don't forget, they do have their own separate little doodad, separate place. Let's go over here. Let me pull up my phone again. So as soon as I go in, whatever, I don't know what that is in my feed. But then, so the middle one, right? Just tap the middle one. And it's interesting because how many, so that's a reel and that's a reel. If I go enough, I should see some ads, hey? But I haven't seen a lot of ads. I've seen a lot of people shared this with these cute little guys dancing. See, there I go. I stopped, dropped in, and see it's trending. See by the little up arrow, it is actually trending there. So the music anyway. Yeah. So there's your Reels feed, eh? So that's that. But, they're more and more getting shoved into the main feed just because of the fact that, Instagram, Facebook, Meta wants us to to consume them a lot more. You had vertigo for a month? Oh gosh, yikes. Interesting, Jim. Typifies my Facebook frustration. 67 comments, but Facebook's only displaying 4 or 5 with no option to see more. You know, I think I've seen that a lot on lives in particular. And it's only when the live is done that you can sort by, newest. There's also a place to adjust that. I wonder if it'd make a difference if I went back to, like, if I just hop back over to my Chrome here, because it's got like most relevant, hidden by the page. I don't know if only people who manage this page can see this, right? So you see most relevant, newest, and all. I think you should be able to see those 3. And I do have the sort option on. There's a place you can go in and set that in your settings. Hey, so page auto-generated, no posts to sharing messages. I forget where it is, but the comment ranting. There it is. So that's interesting. I am on the fence about this. I'd love to know your thoughts. If you're tuning in now or you're catching the replay and you've made it this far, this little setting right in here, it's in your settings, and it's called comment ranking. And so it's right in here that I have mine set to most relevant. And that's an optional one. You can do the same on your personal profile too. And so what happens is the comments with the most likes or replies appear first under the post, as well as comments from look, there's a typo. Instead of as well as, it says as will. Oh, excuse me, as will. I thought it was as will comments, my bad. From other verified pages and profiles. If this setting is not checked, your page will display the most recent comments first. So yeah, I'm curious how many of you prefer pages and profiles to always have recent, or do you like relevant? I almost wonder if having most relevant could actually help your reach just a tiny little bit. In fact. Hi, Adriana. Yeah, you love the community, but you don't need the course. Yeah, absolutely. Like at the moment, I have had my Mighty Networks up and running since March. I don't have any courses in there. It's just purely community. People can create profiles. They can connect with one another. You can have all kinds of different topics. You can do events. You can do private events. You can do groups, private groups, subgroups. It's just, the community part. They have I think it's like a 14-day free trial too. Or you can just join some other communities and just take a look around and get a feel for it and see what you think as a user. That's what I did. I was for like over a year in my main human design teachers Mighty Networks. She has her community in there, and I just loved it. I loved the experience as a user. So I'm like, oh my God, I gotta set myself up here. Yeah, hey Allison, I will never leave Facebook, and nor will my clients. We love TikTok. Anything else? Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, I will leave you to enjoy the rest of your day or evening. Just going backwards here a little bit. Lori Lou saying, until high-speed internet reaches the rest of the country, the metaverse is a non-entity. Right. Oh, hi, Lisa Monks. Hello, love. I didn't see you there. That's a big comment, but let me see what you're doing here. Still blows my mind that they don't seem to be concerned or on their radar at all about their total lack of customer support. I know, right, Lisa? Or the fact that fake pages and scammers are able to thrive on the platform. It's ridiculous. Some of the ads are astonishing. I've seen all kinds of ads that use Zuckerberg's face, all kind of defaced, and advertising about, hey, if you had your account hacked, we can help you. I mean, it's like, how do they even get approved? Yeah, it's crazy times. You're saying NPR now had an expert on yesterday that in 10 years it will only be 1 in 4 who have access. No vertigo for me. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right. So that's a huge investment for Zuckerberg and crew to be making into something that may or may not really even be that, embraced by the masses. So anyway, This is Ecamm. Ecamm Live for Macs is the one that I use. Yeah, it's a great platform. And for Macs, or you've got StreamYard. Yeah, Ecamm Live for Macs or StreamYard. I'll get a link for you. They're both good platforms. If you have a Mac, I leave it Ecamm. This is Ecamm Live for Macs. If you have a Mac, I love this one for sure. If you have a PC, then StreamYard is good, and StreamYard can also do simulcast, multicast to. I thought I had a link for StreamYard for you, but I don't. That you can stream to YouTube, Facebook, of course, LinkedIn Live if you have that. I think there's Twitter as well. But then on Ecamm, you have to come in through Restream. So it's a little bit like you have to have an extra app. So anyway, there's that. That's always good. And then what else was I going to say to you about that? Oh, then there's Wave Video. I know I gotta dig in and take Wave Video live streaming for a good test run. Lisa, what's she saying? When you highlight text when reading, is that a feature within Ecamm? Oh no. That I just was Word. I was sharing my Word. I was sharing a Word doc, and so when I using my cursor to. With the colored highlights, I had already done that. But then as I was moving my cursor, I was just selecting the text inside the Word doc. Because I copied and pasted Zuckerberg's, remarks into my Word doc. Okay, so have I told you everything I wanted to tell you? I think so. Does anybody here not have the new feeds on your Facebook? Curious about that. I don't want to show them on my phone because I think that's probably going to reveal some content, but you can see it right here. Oh, I know. I think it's on my profile. Let me just bring that up. Yeah, it's right here. So what it looks like, iOS, the bar at the bottom, Android, the menu bar at the top, and you'll see home as the default. That's where you'll see. Now, as we know, as of today, Facebook said, or Mark Zuckerberg said, 15% of the content is in there through the AI discovery engine. But then you've got your feeds, and this little guy, I don't know about anybody else, I keep thinking the icon looks like a little bus. It looks like a little two-wheeler bus. I think it's supposed to be like a little business card or even like a Rolodex card with a little clock over the top of it, like recent people. Or maybe it's actual feed with a clock. Anyway, when you tap that, there's all these sub-tabs. So you've got all, which is people and pages and groups, and no suggested content from the discovery engine, and all supposedly in chronological order. You got favorites, which is up to 30, okay, 30, up to 30 people, which is profiles, or pages. And this could be friends and just people you follow, whether you're friends with them or not. That's up to 30 in the favorites. And then you've got your friends and you've got your groups and you've got your pages. I don't know about you all, but I have gone into a few of those feeds over the last few days. And sometimes it's just a time thing. It's a convenience thing. I find myself just doing the usual scrolling through the main feed. It's like Las Vegas. You don't know what you're going to get, right? It's a gamble. We're at the gambling machines. Hi, John. You're asking if Dimension changes to groups. I know it's a new side menu. Yeah. Oh, that just showed up for you. Yeah. That was announced just a little bit ago. Let me find that for you, love. I have it somewhere. That's it. Here we go. This is this one. For John and anyone else that's noticing the changes in the groups. So new Facebook features are coming to groups. This was July 5th. And the revamped look may seem a lot like Discord or Slack. So indeed, community chat channels, like a messenger group chat, and they've got audio. Admins and members can casually jump in and out. They have the option to pop the video on if they want, right? So that was a feature before. That was the live audio rooms. They've now pushed them into groups. And then community feed channels. They might have been the subgroups. And then that's what you were just saying, John, a new sidebar. helps you find your favorite groups quicker and discover new ones. And then a new menu inside of groups organizes the 3 new channels and events and shops and more, etc. So you can take a little peek at that little update there. I think I made that just as a video. So groups updates, pop that there for you. Okay, beautiful friends. I think, I saw one last question here. I can do that. You're saying, can I explain the difference between Instagram reach and views? So views is a video. Views is a non-real video. Views on a Facebook or Instagram video is 3 seconds. Okay, 3 seconds. So that means whether it's on your desktop or a mobile device, it needs to be on the screen for 3 seconds or more to be counted as a view. Now, what's not talked about a whole lot is that is not the case with Reels. Reels on Instagram and Facebook are called plays. They're not views, they're plays. And they again outright copied this from TikTok. A play is not a 3-second view. A play is 1 millisecond. Not even a full second. A millisecond. So when you see these reels with oh my gosh, and we always think views, right? You view in a video, you think 10 million views, 5 million views. They're plays. They're 1 millisecond plays. So that's what it's a little bit kind of like an illusion. Some of these things are like wildly popular, but it's like a tiny, tiny little micro moment that those reels are on the screen. Hope that helps, whoever that is. I can see, I don't know why, I think it's an Ecamm thing that's not pulling everybody's usernames through. So whoever that was that asked that, thanks for that question. One more from John here. It's an illusion, right? I know, it's like, oh my gosh, but heck, if we can get millions of plays, I'll take millions of 1 millisecond plays and take a few $100 from Facebook. And I think some people I personally know my good friend Molly Mahoney, who's made like $30,000 from one reel that went crazy viral. Stacy has a wonderful question here. Can you retarget people who do plays? That's a great question. And the last time I looked, it was a no. You can on stories, but if I get a second here, I'll take a peek and see if that's feasible to do. And if someone knows the answer to that for our friend Stacy here, feel free to jump in. I'm just going to look. I'm not sharing my screen for this, but just give me a quick second because I'm curious about that too. I would imagine sooner or later it'll come, but gosh darn, that's got to be a pretty big. See, they're calling them videos, and videos create an audience of people who watched one of your videos on Facebook or Instagram. Videos are different from reels. What if we could just, with everyone who engage with your page, I wonder. Yeah, let me share this now. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm in under create audience, custom audience. So you've got your videos, and that is Facebook or Instagram. But if you were to do, if you're doing a lot of Instagram reels, this is, you can create an audience out of people who visited or interacted with your Instagram profile, posts or ads. Now see, post, is that, they're not making it obvious, are they? They're not making it obvious. Does that include reels? People engage with any post. Includes people who took an action on this post or ad, such as likes, comments, saves, carousel swipes, button taps, and shares. I'm going to find out that answer. I need to know. I need to know the definitive answer to that. Can we create custom audiences based on our Reels 1 millisecond? Okay, yeah. I'm going to try to find that out. Oh, Lisa, do you think you know? You can retarget some Reels, but it depends on some of the elements you use within the Reels itself and the music you use. Now you're talking about Ads Manager, right? To create a custom audience based on Reels plays? Is that what you're talking about, Lisa? The music thing, but then the stories doesn't always make sense to me either. If you can do stories, you should be able to do Reels. That's what's Interesting. See, if I choose video views to create an audience, it's going to start at the 3 seconds. Hey, so I checked video, and that's automatically going to say 3 seconds. It's not saying 1 millisecond, right? But if I go there and I go to choose videos, it does give me. Those are all posts. I thought there was stories in here as well. 3 second. Oh yeah, I think maybe the ones with 0 have got our stories. I forget. Not like they've had 0. I think it's just within a certain time frame. Right? Hey John, Meta does a lot of A/B testing, so your menus may differ. Yeah. Charge of features will roll out fast. Yep, that's very true, John. Okay, I think I've run out of steam. I've run out of energy. It's absolutely a joy to be with you all today, this evening, tonight, tomorrow, whenever you're watching this. I thought I saw one last thing here. Oh yeah, John saying, I'm pretty sure it's an admin only feature, but have you heard of that option? Does it depend on your group size? Oh, thank you for being. I missed that. Yeah, at everyone. Yeah, this is. I see folks are talking about this. I'm glad I'm glad I caught that. We'll lay down the track of it in this video. I'm seeing a number of people talking about this at everyone. I don't think I have it in my social scoop. No, I don't have it. And I personally, unless you have a very small group of people that really, really know and love you and are happy to be tagged, then I would be very, very careful about using an at everyone tag. It's going to really piss people off. Sorry for swearing or whatever. But I don't think I have it. Right? Is it just you literally type at everyone? That's not something that's going to work for me. It doesn't look like it anyway. But I saw somebody posting about it here a minute ago. Hang on, I'm going to just stop sharing for a quick second in case something weird shows up. There it is. Yeah. Kevin was sharing about it. Yeah, there's a post in there about how do you feel about the new group admin feature? Allows them to tag everyone and every member of the group gets notified. And a lot of comments of people saying, I just hate that. I'm going to be leaving groups that use that annoying feature. Seems like right now the consensus is be careful. I personally would be really careful of using that feature. Nothing worse than ticking people off because you always we only get one chance to make a first impression. So if somebody comes into your group and then you bug them by tagging them too often or even just once and they're like, I don't want to be tagged. I'm not always even a fan of doing the welcome tags. Sometimes I just like to be stealth. I like to just join a group and I'm an investigator. I like to just, not like I'm trying to be stealth, but it's like, don't call me out until I'm ready. I'm like looking around. I'm like, who is in here? What's the vibe? What's the culture? What's the rules? What's the etiquette? Do I even really want to be in here? I'm just looking around. It's like when you walk into a shop, right? You walk into a store and the first thing is like, you've got like a shop assistant that comes pouncing on you. Can I help you? You're like, oh, I'm just looking. Leave me alone. I'm just looking. And then you're like creeped out and you leave the store. Oh, goodness. Michelle's saying some of her groups have used it. And this person's saying I don't like the everyone tag. My pleasure, John. Absolutely. Wow, Stacy, if you go into videos, your reels are there in your ads manager. That's really good to see. Interesting. All right. Well, I got to dig around. I'll do a few more reels first. Okay, friends, I'm out of here. What a joy and a pleasure to hang out with you. Thanks for being there. And of course, if we can be of any help whatsoever, you come on in and join us on our meet us in our Social Scoop Facebook group. If you're not in already, most people are that are in my community, but definitely just give that a little mention because we'd love to see you there. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it is. And got questions? Come and see us in the Social Scoop. That's right. Thanks, friends. Take care. Ciao for now.